And we are off, I think. Yeah. I think that it's safe to say we're live, right? Supposedly. I'm just going to click it. What is up, everybody? We are live. It is Tuesday, the 25th of June, AD 2024. And it's 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Thanks for joining. What's up, D-Live crew? YouTube, of course. Rumble. We're going to talk about... I was thinking I would cover this Bible stuff. Commie Nonsense Bible. I saw an interesting post the other week about Jew blamers, Jew haters, and white positivity. Pretty interesting post from a former guest on the Hake Report. And there's some interesting news that I covered on Hake News. You can check out the Hake News section of the HakeReport.com. And I would like to get to your calls, of course. What was some of the interesting news? Just to cover it briefly for you guys, or at least hint at it. There's all this Supreme Court excitement. I don't care about that. Julian Assange, he got a nice deal from the Biden administration. I tend to like Julian Assange. You know, the WikiLeaks guy. I know he's kind of liberal, but he's not that bad. He's more reasonable. I think of him as liberal. I don't know. But anyway, women-only art. Ridiculous story. China's in the space race. Shout out to the space deniers. Come at me, bros and ladies. Vivek Murthy is pretending to be all tough against... I mean, Vivek Murthy is the Surgeon General, and he's like, oh, we need to go against the Second Amendment because... He didn't say that explicitly, obviously, I don't think. But he put out this advisory, health advisory. These lame, liberal, evil doctors are all against the right to carry awesome guns because the children are, you know, for the sake of our children and stuff like that. Gun violence propaganda, you know? So that's dumb. And what else was there? Oh, infant mortality increased in Texas, supposedly. It's basically pro-abortion propaganda. Oh, the kids are dying out of the womb, so we need to be able to kill them in the womb or something ridiculous like that. So anyway, guys, all that and your calls, if you'd like to call in. I'm going to try to go live on IG right now. But let's just get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. Have my Route 66 t-shirt on. Route 66 travels from Santa Monica all the way to back east somewhere. I'm not sure where it goes. But it's famous, or it used to be famous. Isn't that nice? Let me read some biblical passages for you to dive right in, shall we? I read this. I came across this in some of my old screenshots from my phone. You know, I get these push notifications from Commie Nonsense Network and other CNN and other things. And this was from all the way back in 2018 that I screenshot this. 7 years ago, roughly. June 23rd, 2018. Right? 6 years ago. I can't count. Their headline reads, Jeff Sessions isn't the first to textjack, like hijack or carjack. Textjack. Take the text and steal it for your own use. Take it where it's not supposed to go. The Bible, Jeff Sessions. Here are some of the most misused scriptures. It's an article from John Blake on Common Nonsense Network website. And they tell this story of this woman named Dinah Disney or something like that. I think it's a woman. She shot a winning basketball shot for NCAA back in the 80s. And she said, how did she stay so calm and not choke? And she quoted, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Something like that. And there is this scholar, biblical scholar, who scoffs at all these at all these athletes who have that on their shoes and stuff like that. Obama's friend, that light-skinned Stephen Curry, has the passage on his shoes, or did have the passage, "I can do all things." Stephen Curry's sneakers. Philippians 4:13, "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength." Well, there's this guy named Robert E. Van Voorst, Voorst. I don't know if that's, what is that? Holland? Is that Netherlands? Is that Dutch? Last name? Not sure. He calls it textjacking, a biblical verse, by robbing it of its original meaning. Van Voorst is a biblical scholar. He said when the Apostle Paul wrote that line, he wrote it from prison, and it was about suffering, not winning basketball shots. It wasn't about not choking under pressure, necessarily. Anyway, he was contemplating his own execution, according to this guy, this professor at a Western Theological Seminary in Michigan. People are in very heated situations. They quote the Bible, but it's oftentimes both on the left and the right misquoted, wrong. And he wrote some book about this called Commonly Misunderstood Verses of the Bible. So Jeff Sessions was condemned back in 2018. He was the attorney general under Trump for a little while. And he quoted a passage from Romans 13 to justify separating parents from their children at the border. That was so phony. They don't care about children and parents and being separated. They separate to come here. We don't even know if they are parents. So that's dumb. That was a fake drama. They pretended like they cared about children. There were psychologists, child psychologists saying, oh, children have lasting effects from being separated from their parents by the government. Never trust a psychologist unless you can see that the psychologist is telling the truth. But these are not honest psychologists. They're political dumb liberals. Then here's an example of textjacking from these communist people on, well, I don't know if this guy is communist, John Blake, but CNN is Common Nonsense Network. Listen to this quote from Luke 18:22. Sell everything you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me. That wasn't a passage to everybody. That was a in the moment suggestion, command from Jesus to the rich young ruler who's like, Master, I've followed you. I've obeyed all the commandments. What must I do to inherit the kingdom of God? Something like that. But the evil Common Nonsense Network, so this guy was attached to his great wealth. He was attached in his heart to his great wealth. His heart was storing up the treasure on earth. He was too attached to it. And he was sad. He didn't want to give that up. But he says, there are those verses even some of the most literal readers of the Bible ignore because they are just too inconvenient. And they pretend like Luke 18:22 applies to everybody. No, it applies to what your God is. Be willing to let go of your God let it go. But they're lying. They pretend, oh, we're supposed to take care of the poor. Oh, we're supposed to not have possessions. That's not what it's saying. That's dumb. There's another one that they quote that they say is textjacking, which already just took place, as you witnessed, from the Commie Nonsense Network site. Romans 8:28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And they claim, the scholars claim, Romans 13 isn't the only passage. Romans 8:28 often invoked like a spiritual lucky charm, or as a, it's more of a, what is that thing, that a sugar pill that you take? They give you a sugar pill and you think that it's a real pill with real drugs to benefit you, real medicine. Placebo. People take that to feel better mentally. No matter what kind of glorious mess you find yourself in, God will bail you out like a cosmic 911 operator. This verse is used to comfort people going through tough times with the idea that these bad things are happening for a reason, eventually will work out for the best, says Mark Pugliese at Placebo, associate professor of religion and theology at St. Leo University in Florida. You lose your job because God has a better one for you. Falling off a ladder and breaking your leg was part of God's plan to get you to meet your future partner. What? Partner? He means wife or a husband. Probably wife. Because men fall out of ladders, I think, more frequently. Because they go on ladders more frequently. When you were at the hospital, Paul was actually talking about God bailing out all creation in a future age, according to this Pugliese guy. He was explaining apocalyptic theology, according to this guy. If you read the rest of the chapter, the context becomes clear. He's talking about when Christ comes back. I don't know if this guy is even really saying it right. I think even the context freaks are getting it wrong. My suspicion. I've lost this loved one and I'm going to meet someone new. It's not a thing in this life or a specific event in your life. It's bigger. That makes sense. That part makes sense. I like that verse, though. I like that verse. The poor you will always have with you. Here's another one. The poor you will always have with you. Here's some more commie nonsense. Matthew 26:11. Politicians quote that sometimes to justify, according to the Commie Nonsense Network website, to weaken the social safety net or discourage spending on programs for the poor. Indeed, those things make it worse because you're enabling them, the so-called poor. As JLP said earlier today on his show, we don't have poverty in America. We have no poverty in America. Maybe you go way up into the Appalachians, they don't have running water or electricity and whatever. But we don't have poverty in America. The implication that Jesus would have thought such programs were a waste. The way that they strawman the people, they strawman the conservatives, Commie Nonsense Network. Nothing could be further from the truth, says David B. Gowler, author of The Parables of Jesus. Left out of their misinterpretation of that saying is the fact that Jesus actually was quoting a passage from Jewish scripture that makes the opposite point. The passage this Gowler guy refers to as Deuteronomy 15:7 through 11. Do not be hard-hearted or tight-fisted towards your needy neighbor. That's right, you shouldn't be hard-hearted nor tight-fisted towards your needy neighbor. That doesn't mean you just give away to anybody. Jesus was alluding to the 11th verse, there will never cease to be some in need on earth? Therefore I command you, open your hand to the poor and needy neighbor in your land. So said God in the Old Testament of Deuteronomy. Back when they had actual poor. The continual existence of the poor serves as the fundamental reason for God's command to assist them. Give liberally and ungrudgingly, says this Gowler guy. But you'll notice that the government does it by stealing, and then the do-gooders do it and hamstring and do evil to the people. They're not doing it right. And you'll also notice that Jesus was quoted in the Bible as having said, look at these people giving all liberally and making a big show of their giving. And that's all the world does, is make a big show of giving. I've noticed that every show, TV show, where there's like violence or something cool, you know, because violence is so cool to watch on TV, right? These action shows. It's always helping people, including even this awesome show from the 80s, The A-Team. Oh, we're helping people. Helping people. That's just to feel good to justify violence. Because the violence is what we really like to see. Oh, and then we can feel good about it because it's, quote unquote, helping people. Helping people. Help yourself. The parallel verse in Mark 14:7 clearly has Jesus approving of giving to the poor, as it immediately adds, and whenever you wish, you can do good to them, according to this guy. This Pugliese guy, who's also referencing that. But Jesus said that when this prostitute woman, I guess, or this woman, repentant woman, was crying and dropping her tears or pouring a perfume, expensive perfume on Jesus' feet and washing it with her hair, something like that. And they're like, what a waste. He should have given it to the poor. See? That's an example of phonies pushing giving to the poor. And Jesus called out the phonies who are all about giving to the poor. So they're text-jacking in this same text-jacking, anti-text-jacking. I don't even like that word. Commie propaganda about the Bible. Isn't that interesting? This one is interesting. This one is pretty interesting. I'm going to try to plow through these guys, okay? A scripture that scapegoats. Matthew 27:24-25. And the people answered and said, this is the Jews who is saying, crucify him! Crucify him! And Pilate's all, why? What crime has he committed? We don't care. Crucify him. Give us Barabbas. And all the people answered, and then Pilate washed his hands and said, his blood is not on my hands. You guys do with him what you want. Because Pilate's all, these people are out of control. I can't contain them. Let's appease the crowd. Calm them down. Give them a little what they want. And all the people answered and said, his blood will be on us and our children. This scripture, according to CNN, has been called the most inflammatory passage in the New Testament. How? I'd never heard of that. It comes from one of the most dramatic moments in the New Testament. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus was put on trial. Pontius Pilate, Roman governor, asked the crowd of Jews what he should do to Jesus. The text said that the crowd replied, crucify him. Pilate declared he's innocent of Jesus' blood. Jewish mob cried out that Jesus' blood shall be on us and our children. The words are clear in the passage, but the way they've been misinterpreted to blame Jews for killing Jesus has caused countless deaths over the centuries. Okay, no, that's not true. And I'll tell you why that's not true. Ideas alone don't kill. It's ideas coupled with the anger. Because there's facts. There's facts that are facts. And they want to stop you from citing facts because people take the facts and they're mad about it and then they sometimes kill or whatever. But they want to suppress facts because facts are inflammatory or racist. Your racist facts, I was once told. You and your racist facts on X, or it was Twitter at the time. The misuse of Matthew 27, 24 to 25 has led to everything from the Crusades and the Inquisition, according to them. I don't know how true any of this stuff is. This might be a caricature of history. To pogroms and the Holocaust. That led to that. Christians aren't the only ones who've misused scriptures for violence. All religious texts can be victims of textjacking. Muslim terrorists, Hindu nationalists, violent Buddhist monks in Myanmar, according to Common Nonsense Network. They want to pretend like they're being fair. Oh, not just attacking Christians. If people knew their history, they would know that Jews did not kill Jesus, says David Linkikum, associate professor of theology at University of Notre Dame. The Romans are actually the ones who put Jesus to death. But the Jews are being blamed for the death of Jesus, says this Linkikum, whatever his name is, Lincicum. Lincicum. You have this long tradition of Christian anti-Semitism. At least he hyphenated it. Oh, this was 2018 when they were still hyphenating the capital S Semitism. Nowadays, they put it all in one word with no hyphen because they're changing the language and trying to make it real in your mind, which finds its justification in texts like that. That justification has been repudiated since by popes and scholars. But everybody knows that the Romans did it at the behest of them. Rather than blaming the Jews for the crucifixion of Christ, says this one person, J. Carl Laney, the New Testament teaches that Jesus died for the sins of the world. Yeah, that's how I grew up raised. So it was baffling to me to hear some basketball player, black guy, say, oh, the Jews killed Jesus. And then it was like this big news story that I read in the newspaper back when I was like a kid. I was like, huh? Blacks. Shook my head. But now you hear everybody saying it. The New Testament teaches that Jesus died for the sins of the world. In a very real sense, the sin of each and every person was a factor in sending Jesus to the cross. And really, it's the Spirit. As Jesus said himself, not all who are come from Israel are Israel. There are people who are children of God, who are children of Abraham, but not children of God, not true children of Abraham. And same thing with the outsiders, the Gentiles. But it seems like they're trying to protect the people who did it. Isn't it kind of interesting? Yes, they did. No, it's not a thing to hold a grudge over. Jesus himself said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. So who are the Christians to be like mad about it? What's up, D-Live crew? Mel Gibson said it a while back, says Radulaser. So both the common nonsense people and the theologians and scholars are crazy, trying to be like, what is it? They're trying to mess with responsibility. They're trying to, whatever, it's a mess. Anyway. We're not Jesus, says Lucky Larry. You're supposed to be. You're supposed to be like him. Lucky Larry, what are you saying? What are you saying when you say we're not Jesus? Anyway, so that's interesting. Both the people who are pretending like they're protecting the Jews by saying, oh, actually it was the Romans. And the people who are trying to blame it all on the Jews. Interesting, huh? Anyway, here's this last one. Hopefully the last one, and then we'll get to calls. Slavery. A subversive on slavery. Ephesians 6:5. Isn't this a beautiful verse? Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Isn't that a nice message? Obey from your heart, sincerity of heart, respect and fear, just as you would obey Christ. Do you love me? Keep my commandments, Jesus said. The late mystic and theologian Howard Thurman, raised by his grandmother. It sounds black. I don't know. Might be. Grandmother was born a slave and couldn't read. It fell to him to read her to the Bible. She would not allow him to read anything from Paul. What's up with these Paul haters? Blacks. It took him years. One day he finally asked her why. He was scared of her. He was scared of Grandma. She told him her master's minister would occasionally hold services for the slaves and always quoted from Paul. At least 3 or 4 times a year, he used as a text, slaves, be obedient to them that are your masters. Then he would go on to show how it was God's will that they be slaves and how if we are good and happy slaves, God would bless us. Yes, yes. Be good and happy slaves. You know, in America, we're slaves of different, like debt slaves and whatever. We don't have actual freedom. We're just comfortable. They just keep us comfortable and spoiled and a semblance of freedom. If you keep your head down, you'll have a little bit more freedom and leeway. If you peek your head up, and get too successful and outspoken, they'll come after you, like Trump, like my competitor, Alex Jones, whom I called the FBI on to have them shut him down. I'm kidding. Half kidding. Well, whatever. If you get too, if the spotlight comes on you, you're not going to have any freedom. Look at Derek Chauvin. So be comfortable and happy. Chin up king, I always say to Derek Chauvin. He's a prisoner. Obey your prison guards with respect and fear, Derek Chauvin, if you're catching the Hake report. Chin up king. Not really a king, he's a slave. He's a prisoner. Virtually no one misuses Paul's letter to the Ephesians to justify slavery anymore. Wow, virtually nobody. They're basically calling our caller Mark from Los Angeles virtually nobody, a virtual nobody. And yet you have people overreacting to a virtual nobody. Shameful. Shameful. But for centuries, it was used in America to justify the enslavement of African people. African, they call them. Shaking my head. There are some Christians today who still feel ambivalent about Paul because of his words on slavery. Yeah, Joe from Phoenix is like, I don't like that verse. I think it was used to justify subjugating human beings. No, it was acknowledging the reality of the situation. There are slaves, there are masters, and there are free people. And slaves, don't let it bother you. If you can get your freedom, do so. But if not, don't let it bother you. For you are free in Christ. And masters, you are slaves of Christ, so also treat your slaves right. It's called being Christian in whatever situation you're in. Because the reality is, people are going to take over. There's going to be injustice in the world. There's going to be situations that are not ideal and all kinds of stuff. Be a Christian, Christian-hearted, following, obeying as you would Christ. But no. Oh, there might be another last one that I forgot about, the women thing. Oh, I don't know. I might have skipped over that. I'll have to go back to it. There is neither, in Galatians, it would be inaccurate to say Paul justified or approved of slavery. Yeah, I think he was slavery indifferent. He's like, get your freedom if you can. But anyway, there is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one in Christ. Spiritually, yes, but on earth, there is Jew and Greek. There is black and white. There is male and female. And that's why we don't say, oh, boys can go into the women's bathrooms because there's neither a boy nor a girl. No, that's dumb. That's satanic overriding of the satanic subversion, textjacking, satanic textjacking. In other passages of the Bible, listen to this. Listen to this, you guys who say, oh, slavery in America was worse than slavery in the Bible. Listen to this. In other passages of the Bible, Paul says slaves shouldn't be threatened. A common practice at the time. Oh, in your face. You people who are like, slavery in the Bible was different from slavery in the America. I'm sure it was in different ways, but it wasn't some cushy thing necessarily. Sometimes. And then they tried to call it a subversive attitude. Paul had a subversive attitude toward slavery. Toward Philemon. I call him Philemon, but some people call him Philemon, who was a slave owner and a Christian whom Paul befriended. And Paul came into contact with a slave who had escaped from Philemon, Onesimus. He sent Onesimus back to Philemon, with a letter requesting his friend accept his former slave as a brother in Christ. Isn't that interesting? Sent him back. Nice, Paul the slave catcher. But he was a righteous slave catcher. Here, do this for your brother. He's your brother. But no, some of you guys want to send these people to HE double toothpicks or hockey sticks. I call it toothpicks. Hat tip to Caroline in New York. That's where I got it from. One of the old callers on the DLP show. No, says Bigg Bump. According to Kentucky John, you must have an opinion on slavery. I know. Bigg Bump has no opinion on slavery. Oh, you're weak. Anyway, that's that for slavery. Let me find abuse, because this one is funny. Okay, last one real quick, and then calls. Hang tight. I know I've gone long. Textjacking verses according to Commie Nonsense Network. Plenty of ordinary people have been misstating the true meaning of that and other popular New Testament passages for ages, so say biblical scholars, who themselves are devilish. Didn't Jesus have to debunk the scholars at the time? Romans 13 has been used to justify everything from slavery to apartheid. I don't think slavery and apartheid are anything that you have to justify or condemn. You just be Christian in the context of slavery and apartheid, right? Ephesians 5:22, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do to the Lord, as to the Lord. That's been cited to support the abuse of women. So says this evil, I'm calling him evil, I don't know, John Blake of Commie Nonsense Network website. The abuse of women. Who's ever said that? I'm sure you can find devilish people who's saying stuff like that. But can you name any instance where it's really been cited to support the abuse of women? And how about you explain that? Wives, submit to your husbands. Wives, obey your husbands. Wives, the wife must respect her husband. Terrible. Hake, if slaves weren't supposed to be threatened, why stop them from walking off the plantation? Well, that's a time to threaten them. Raise that whip. That's a time to threaten them. That's not a criminal threat. That's a righteous threat. So you're trying to trick me, Rika, Frederick. Anyway, silly people. I just thought I would share that with you. Commie Nonsense Bible. I had hinted at touching on it yesterday and didn't get to it. Brett in Reno, Nevada is on the line here. He's been on hold for quite some time. There is one line open. You can call in, guys. 888-775-3773. Put a 1 in front of it if you're dialing via Skype. Brett in Reno, Nevada. How you doing, man?
Doing well, man. Worth the wait.
Cool.
Hey, I just wanted to say, the wife and I watched your show actually later on in the day. I work
Oh, cool.
mornings and she does too. So we found the Azzmador conversation that was happening to be super interesting. And
Yesterday?
yeah. I just wanted to kind of shout out, everybody who participated in that. That was just an interesting dialogue to see take place.
You're talking about where we were talking about he was on the run, but it would have been better had he had the foresight maybe to turn himself in so he could get whatever medical care he needs. So possibly he could have been alive today. That situation?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I agreed with that point. And then, I thought there were people who were kind of calling him out for, I don't know, anti-Semitism or whatever else. And I kind of go like, even if he was, can't the guy rest in peace now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I forget the guy who always used to call, who ended up dying, couple of years back, a black gentleman who used to call Jesse and you.
We think that he died. We don't know if he died or not, but Earl from Michigan?
Yeah, Earl.
Yeah.
I don't agree with a single thing that Earl said, but I wish him well, and I hope he rests in peace.
Yeah.
And same with Joe. I don't agree with anything that Joe said, and I think a lot of it is evil. I think he could probably do with listening to the show and taking what you say a little bit more to heart. But I wish him well.
Right.
And I think maybe that even Joey is his name?
Joe from Phoenix?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, not Joe. Mark. Sorry.
Yeah.
Getting names mixed up here. So yeah, Joe and Mark seem to have a little bit of the same anger, and I go, that should be, and not that I'm trying to incite anything by saying it, but just to that point, like, it's like we're all dealing with the same spirit.
Yeah.
I think, and to think that we're all that different is just dividing us.
Right.
And Azzmador, rest in peace. And I think, it was a really, really good conversation. I'll say that much. And everybody contributed to it. Whether they were saying the wrong thing or the right thing, they were saying the right thing.
Cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm thanks for the feedback. I wanted to get that out because there's stuff that you don't even consider that are solutions to, your physical issues, your physical situation. You have a health issue, you're on the run, you're in hiding.
Yeah.
You could come out and face it.
And whether he was guilty of what he did or not, like, I don't think the January Sixers were doing the wrong thing necessarily.
Yeah,
or they ran from the cops, I'd be like, that's a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, or the Charlottesville thing, because I think his thing was Charlottesville. Yeah. He didn't go to J6. But
well, no, I'm just saying in general, like the political prisoners.
Right.
I think even Chauvin is one of them.
Yeah.
But boy, would he be? I would have not been on Chauvin's side. So I'm not that I'm saying I choose sides, but just that I would have not thought very much of him if he had ran after the verdict.
Right.
I'd be like, look, you're a political prisoner. Let that be known. Don't become the enemy in the process.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I agree with. It reminds me sort of the parents of the young man, 15-year-old Ethan Crumbly's parents who shot up the school, and they went on the run. They went on the run. That's not good. It is kind of it's so Azzmador, but it's probably not wise or right.
Yeah,
because he's kind of he's like one of those. I think of him as kind of like an outlaw American. There is a history of outlaw Americans, and We're not looking down on the outlaw Americans.
Well, here's the thing: is America
that's
was only
unwise.
founded by outlaws.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. You know, that's older than the American flag, and a lot of people don't realize, like, to secede from a nation, you have to become a criminal of that nation.
Yeah.
I don't think it's wrong or right, but that's just, that's the truth of the matter is you're going to be a criminal of another nation if you try to do something like Australia did or America did.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, it's kind of part of the process. We're kind of in those growing pains right now where people are deciding, do I fight for the country that existed before all the bureaucrats, or, do I kind of just let it go and say, it is what it is.
Right.
So,
and this anti-Semitism thing, he referred to himself as a Jew critic, because I'm like Jew blamers and Jew critics, because there are some who aren't in a spirit of blame, because you can cite all these facts. Yeah. It's like what JLP says about the blacks. Like, he's not complaining. He is just pointing out the reality, and in his heart, he's unmoved. He has love for them. It's to help wake them up, and it's to help wake the whites up, and all of that. It's in love. And so you can joke around and say crazy things that people would be shocked at, and it's not even necessarily crazy. It's just that other people are not used to Americans' freedom of speech, which is so refreshing, honestly. Yeah.
I completely agree, and maybe I'm nuttier than squirrel poop, but I mean, I'm like, are we not in America where you're allowed to criticize things, including religion? Like,
right.
Yeah, you have the freedom to pick the religion. Like, that comes with the prejudice of saying, oh, I don't like this religion for this reason.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of choice.
Right.
Like, ultimately, I don't think we have choice. I think we let other things control us.
Yep.
But at least as Americans, the choices that we're given are because we determine we like something more than another.
Right.
And a lot of that comes down to having discrepancies with other things. I'm not Jewish because I don't agree with the Jewish teachings.
And honestly, the
Muslim
same thing with,
I don't agree with them.
The same thing with
Does
race.
That make me anti-Muslim or anti-Semitism?
It's the same thing with race and culture, because people's cultures are all messed up. And that's most of the criticisms of the blacks are their messed up cultures. And
that's why I choose not to be black.
Exactly. And you can tell a black, don't be black like that, You can you're being black, and they know what you mean, and they don't have to get hung up on the way that you say it. If there's truth to the message behind it, then they can apply it and appreciate you. Or if it's not accurate, then they don't hold it against you. That's the Christian way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, look, anybody who thinks like, oh, you can't criticize somebody's race.
Yeah.
I criticize white people who live like trash. I grew up in Riverside, California.
Wiggerside.
The meth capital of like the world for the longest time.
Wow.
And yeah, I would see white trash and I'd call it out. I'd be like, come on, you can do better.
Yeah.
When I criticize blacks, I don't criticize every black. I criticize the person that I'm criticizing.
Right.
So, and the same with any race, and the same with any religion. And I don't agree with the notion that you can't criticize things.
Right. Me either.
How do you find the right criticisms if you don't criticize things?
Yeah. That's mama telling people not to do stuff, acting like they're fighting hate. That's what the evil ADL says. Oh, we're fighting hate for good. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're fighting hate with your mama spirit hate, and it's evil.
I'd love to run the ADL and be that rich.
Nice.
For telling people not to do things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be great.
Indeed.
I could retire right now for telling people not to say things.
Yeah.
That's such a silly thing. I don't know. By the way, I love the shirt. Santa
Nice.
Monica. Yeah.
Santa
Yeah,
Monica and
have a
Route
house out
66.
there.
It goes through Illinois, central Illinois, and other places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's well, my father grew up in Santa Monica, so I always used to go out. He inherited the house that he grew up in.
Okay.
So we used to work on it, and then we'd go to Pink's Hot Dogs. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the place I'm talking about, but it was called Oz, and it was like a Spencer's kind of store.
I don't recognize that.
Yeah, it was a neat kind of place. But yeah, early 2000s, late 90s, used to go to Santa Monica all the time.
Nice, man. It's great to hear from you, Brett and Reno. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, always a pleasure. Yeah,
all right.
Have a great week.
Yeah, you too.
Later, Hake.
Bye. John in Kentucky's on the line here. Kentucky John, thank you for calling and holding there. What is up?
Oh, nothing's up, man. I just heard you calling my name while I was out for a drive.
Nice.
I'll call in.
I forget what we
First of
talked
all-
about.
Well, first of all, Bigg Bump is weak, man.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Man. Yeah.
I wonder if you got to Bigg Bump because he responded to it. He's like, according to Kentucky John, you must have an opinion on slavery.
Hey, he also the other day when I got off that call, he was still thinking about what I had said because he brought it back up later, but he gave me the Jesse Lee Peterson answer about, I forgot the question I asked, about slavery. And,
yeah, should it have ended, something like that.
Yeah, so he was still thinking about it.
Maybe,
but, man,
does that mean that you were
ahead.
right, or does that mean that you were so insane that he had to like ponder it even further?
It not insane. It means he had to question the way he thinks, because the way he thinks really is kind of he's really brainwashed. Y'all got him brainwashed, man. I heard him speak at y'all's church Sunday, and Jesse kind of put him on the spot and had him to give some guy some advice. And you could just see not see on his face, but you can hear him trying to appease Jesse by the way he was answering. And he was taking what he had learned from Jesse and trying to give that advice to that guy. It was complete BS, man. It's like let me cut that off. He's brainwashed.
It's interesting that you catch church with
see.
JLP. Thanks for catching church with Jesse Lee Peterson.
Man, let me
you know,
tell
if there's any truth to what you're saying, let Bigg Bump check himself and grow stronger. But, a lot of times the wicked try to attack and undermine. They see something that they perceive as weakness, and there may be some weakness there. And then they sometimes misdiagnose it or go further than it really is or whatever. But fair enough, man. That's your take on Bigg Bump, your brother.
That's the way I see it. He is my brother, man, but how do y'all got him like that, man? I just don't understand.
He's an independent thinker, man. Ever since 9/11, he's been an independent thinker. He thinks for himself.
Any sane black man, if you think for yourself, if you're on the left, the right, the middle, whatever.
Yeah.
If you ask a hypothetical question, do you think slavery should have ended?
Yeah.
To me, it sounds normal to say, oh, yeah, it should have ended. Like you would say it was, Jesse would say it was going to end anyway. Let's just let it play out. And then you would say, I think you said you don't know or you don't care or something like that. And then Bigg Bump follows in right behind you and says the same thing you said, just to make you feel good.
But how do you guys figure? I don't.
Because, man, he's intimidated by you, man.
Lord, he's older than me and stronger than me. He's like.
But he's weak, Hake. He's weak.
Okay. Well, that's your take. Okay.
He don't have a voice, man.
You sound like
like
that's just like you remind me of Mays, because Mays accuses blacks who agree with JLP and Hake of trying to appease the whites, like Rick in Hampton, Virginia. When Rick in Hampton, Virginia, he's like a nice guy too, but he's also can see through the bogus speech, the BS, bogus speech. Anyway.
It's like people like him and William, they set out to give their opinion on black people. They have this gripe against black people, but they don't see anything else wrong with any other race. The only thing they're worried about
How do you know that?
is calling y'all, because I never hear him talk about it.
But I don't know if that's accurate because he's criticized individuals who are not black. So I think you're just making an assumption. But blacks are like remarkably off the deep end crazy. It's a big topic. You know that.
No, man.
Don't you care about you care about the blacks, right?
Of course, man.
Yeah,
of course.
So we do too.
But I don't put everybody under the same umbrella. Not none of that crap y'all say. It's just like that's how y'all make y'all's money, man.
That's another crazy accusation.
Niche.
You don't know that.
This is y'all's niche. This is what y'all do for entertainment.
I mean,
and that's not crazy.
I mean, it is entertaining, but a lot of people support us and support Bond and support JLP because they appreciate his message on anger and forgiveness and prayer and his simple approach to life. There's a whole lot more money coming in than just we support
y'all's money.
We support. Okay, well, you're accusing us of making money off of criticizing blacks, and there's a lot to criticize. Yeah, we do. I would do it for free.
Yeah, right. If you didn't make any money off of your show,
but criticizing blacks is all you hear because you're so focused on that. So that's all you hear. You don't hear the bigger message.
Well, to be honest, that's the only reason why I listen because y'all so stuck on us.
Okay, so you listen to all of church. How much was blacks talked about in church?
Man, I don't know. I just listen. I'll put my earpiece in and listen to some of it.
Yeah.
I hear something crazy. I'll focus in.
Right.
But, man, my opinion on y'all, and I'll tell you what I call in for. Y'all, I don't know how big y'all's church is. All I know is that there's approximately 7 billion people on earth.
Nice.
Y'all's church cannot be that big, and y'all can't be the only right, quote-unquote, right Christians on the earth. Y'all have a what do you call it? A radical way of doing y'all's Christianity. I don't even know. Jesse don't even want to call himself a Christian anymore. I don't even understand that.
Yeah, he does. He's making the distinction, not identifying with Team Christian, because a whole lot of people are on like an identifying with it, and then there's like a pride and a puffing up and an identity with it. When you're not supposed to be, even God himself is like, there's neither Jew nor Gentile, slave nor free, all those things, overcome the identities. Because you have this false idea of following the Lord. Jesus said there will be a time when they say, "Oh, Lord, Lord, didn't I do this in your name?" And he'll be like, "Away from me, I never knew you." So all these people thinking they're doing stuff and thinking that they're believing in Jesus is not real. That's what he's getting away from.
That's every single person in y'all's church. That's every single person in y'all's church.
That's your opinion. You have no idea about the reality of the situation.
When I listen to y'all's church, every now and then, y'all will go a whole show without even mentioning Jesus or God. Y'all will be talking about stupid stuff.
Why do you have to mention Jesus and God? How much do you think Jesus and God talk about themselves? Boom!
Are you stupid?
Yeah, Jesus didn't. Did Jesus even say, "Oh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus"? How many JPMs? How many Jesuses per minute did Jesus say?
Time out. When did he say who's smarter, women or men? I mean, who's dumber, women or men? When did he say that?
He didn't have to.
Okay, those are stupid questions. It's entertainment. You pulling these sheep along, man. That's what y'all are doing.
Okay, well, it's stupid to you. That's a fine.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Could you break down a scripture for me? I heard you saying some scripture earlier about Paul or whatever.
Okay.
Could you break down Revelations 13 and 10? Could you break that down for me and tell me
Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. That's a.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I have to read the whole thing. But it's there's a common saying, I think it's in the Bible too, that he who lives by the sword dies by the sword. And so you reap what you sow. And a lot of stuff that you mete out happens to you. You know how you hate the whites? You know how you hate the
And
whites?
And if you take people into captivity,
Right.
what's going to happen to you?
You'll be taken into captivity. According
Right.
to this individual, I don't know who they're talking about with he. I don't know if it applies to all people who've ever taken anybody into captivity.
That applies to your people that took my people into captivity.
Oh, okay. So you claim. So
No,
you claim
that's
by the
what it
people who
is. That's what
brainwashed
it
you
is.
into Black Hebrew Israelitism.
No, that's what it is. That's just what it is.
No, you don't
It's
know
not
what you're talking about.
Those white. It's not talking about those white Jews over there.
How do you
Whose
know?
captivity were they in?
How do you know?
Whose captivity were they in?
The Egyptians.
They're fake Jews. They're fake. Please, please, Hake. Please.
Why are you trying to convince me?
Don't. I'm just letting you know, man. You know, all you guys think
Well,
that
I'm
those
none the wiser.
people over there are the real Jews. Huh?
Yeah.
You guys think those people are the real Jews, but
Jesus-
the Bible tells us
Jesus was Ashkenazi Jewish.
no, he was not. Hey,
How do you
that
know?
just makes no sense. Because Ashkenazi, they were converts. They were converts to
Wasn't
a religion.
Rahab the prostitute a convert from
What does that
Jericho?
have to do with the question you just?
Jesus
the lie you just
descended
told
from
about
Rahab.
Jesus? What does that have to do with what you just said about Jesus being an Ashkenazi?
Maybe Rahab was Ashkenazi.
That's a complete lie, man. You need to stop lying
I'm
to these
joking.
people.
I'm joking. It's a joke.
Okay, that's a stupid joke.
Yeah, because well, I mean, your whole religion is a stupid joke.
No, it's not.
Yeah, huh?
Because it makes sense. It makes sense to me if you track our history and then you.
Well,
start
Bigg
to
Bump's
understand the
religion
Bible.
makes sense to Bigg Bump, but you think it's stupid. So,
Bigg Bump got brainwashed somewhere along the way,
And you
he's
did
lost.
too.
He's a lost puppy.
and you're a
He's
lost,
a lost puppy.
and you're a lost big dog.
No, I was lost. I was lost when I was practicing Christianity, man. That's
I
honest
believe
God's
that.
truth.
Of course you were.
I used to be,
And you're
I
lost
used to be
today.
a church boy. Huh?
And you're lost today. You were a church boy?
No, man.
No, let's hear the
Yeah, I was a
backstory.
church boy. I was a church boy, man. Like
Nice.
I was going to church around, I say about 12 to 16,
Yeah. Dang.
and I was like really into it, and nothing ever made sense to me. I just had a good feeling every
Right.
Sunday. I felt good getting out of church, but none of it ever made sense to me. But when I heard the Israelite doctrine
Yeah.
and how it matched up with my history, I put the pieces together, man, and it makes sense.
Okay.
So I'm not going backwards.
No,
because it doesn't make
I'm not
sense
asking you to go
going back
backwards.
to where y'all are.
Yeah. Well, suit yourself,
But yeah,
man.
Bigg
Interesting
Bump,
call.
man. Bigg Bump, wake up, brother. Wake up, man. You got to wake up, man. Hake is really not on your side, and that's the honest to God truth.
I'm on
I
your
bet
side,
y'all
John.
never even hang out. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You crazy, man.
All right. Take care, man.
Crazy, man.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
That was interesting. David in Ocala, Florida on the line here. What's up, David? It's nice to hear from you, man.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to clear up a couple of things real quick
Please.
about him killing Jesus. Nobody killed Jesus. He laid his life down as a ransom for many. So, he
Right,
didn't
but
kill him. He laid down his life.
did he
Yeah,
not
himself.
say, it's written, this guy got to kiss me, betray me, but woe to him who does it, and stuff like that? And these people,
yeah.
so
Well, he
these
knew it
people
was
did,
gonna-
so the Jews who demanded he be crucified were the vessel by which, the instrument of destruction that Satan used, thinking that he was getting God and getting God's son, and God's like, oh, no. And so
Right.
they
I mean,
were
you're right.
used. They were
yeah.
tools of the
Well,
devil,
he-
and God works all things together for the good. So keep your
Right.
shirt on, metaphorically speaking, and don't be trying to give evil people a pass for doing evil. It was evil. I never liked hearing, the Easter message. I'm like, oh, I don't like hearing this message. Jesus died. But because I was emotionally attached to like death, physical death.
Okay.
And I never really thought to hold it against them, but they did. And I know that the same spirit of hatred and self-righteousness and judgment and that's in all of us. That something we all have to overcome. So it's not as if I'm thinking I'm better than the Jays back then who did that. You know, we shouldn't be thinking like that. But it's what happened. You know,
Well,
and yes, it was part of the plan, I guess. And I don't even know. I feel like the plan kind of unfolded for Jesus. Pardon me, I started to drool, but I didn't drip. I feel like it sort of unfolded for Jesus, but God knew what was going on. You know, kind of interesting. But yeah, he did lay his life down. He said, "Oh, I could call angels down from heaven and destroy all of y'all." Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't because
but I'm going by this. It says
just as we shouldn't try to escape. Go ahead.
It says he was the lamb that was slain before the foundation of the world. So that plan was already put into place.
Nice, interesting.
Before God even spoke the world into existence.
Yeah,
this
time
is
and God.
Way deeper.
Fascinating.
Way deeper. Yeah, it goes way back. It's way deeper than what you're going to hear in most churches. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're not going to go way back like that. People aren't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're both right. We're both right. They did kill him, okay, but he allowed them to kill him because he was the atonement for sin, and he knew that. He had to shed his blood. He had to die. He had to be resurrected from the dead. Okay, so
yeah,
these people that call in.
So Ned Post says Hake probably would have killed Jesus or voted to kill Jesus.
That's terrible.
Why is that terrible? He laid his life down. Why are you saying that's terrible? Was it terrible when the Jews did it?
Jesus got crucified. You would have been the one saying crucify him.
I mean, you're right. It is terrible. See, when you personalize it, it does seem terrible. Isn't there a passage in the Bible where it says, I'm laughing at the chat. They're accusing me of having a Habsburg chin, like I'm inbred or something. Where like we're basically nailing his hands and feet to the cross again, or something like that, or rendering his sacrifice as a waste. The way that we live. I think it says stuff like that in the Bible. I specifically remember hearing it, or reading it. Anyway.
Well, when you realize that this was planned before the foundation of the world, it opens up
interesting.
Your eyes to certain things.
When you say planned, but you said planned, but it was done. It was done even before that, huh? Kind of.
Yeah, well, it was spoken into. Yeah, it was. They had made a decision. He had made a decision, evidently. So he existed then. Okay, he didn't just exist when he was born as a baby in the manger. We talked about this before. But anyway, I want to talk about real quick these people that call up to your show and try to claim that they're the real Jews and that the Jews over in Israel are not the real Jews.
Oh yeah,
that is so false. Okay. And, that's just totally crazy. I mean, that's just insane. The Bible talks about that land being reestablished, reborn, and bringing back the Jews from all corners of the world before the end times come. So what's missing there? Them. They're not there. These people that call up your show and say that they're the real Jews, they're not in Israel right now, are they?
Interesting. No, they're not. Maybe they should go over there.
Yeah, maybe they should. But here's the deal. Once the Antichrist comes on the scene and all that goes down the 7-year tribulation, 2/3 of them get killed. So do they want to go over there and jump in that party?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Okay? So, one other thing, because didn't you bring up the Germans or something earlier with Hitler and stuff? Didn't you say something about that?
Yeah, I've talked about Germans and Hitler a little bit. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people that believe, the Nazis were like into the occult and stuff. and it was really Satan working through Hitler trying to just take out the Jews so there couldn't be an Israel reestablished. Now you think about
you think
that.
so?
Why did he just pick the Jews to kill? Think about
because
that.
they were
6 million
problem
of them?
people in his mind. I disavow. I disavow it, of
yeah,
course, but
but-
they were a problem people in his mind. There were all kinds of things going on, and it wasn't just them that he offed. According to the story, even the story wasn't just only them. They were. They might have been a majority because I think that they supposedly killed 10 million, and so supposedly 60% of that was them, according to them. But I don't know. I don't. But it was. They were.
It just seems weird that he picked the Jews, okay? You know what I'm
well, if you
saying?
looked into it, maybe it would start to make whatever. I don't want to get into that.
Well, anyway, there could be more to that than what I'm saying.
I mean, a lot of stuff
in the school. You know
there's
what I
all
mean?
kinds of there's all kinds of reasons for all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. No, he was definitely he was definitely messing around with black magic and all kinds of stuff. And doing,
Was he? I've heard stuff like this.
Crank.
Oh, drugs?
Yeah, they injected him one time. They got him on footage just going crazy after they injected him with some stuff, and then he wanted more of it. I forget
There's
what it's
footage
called.
of him
Joe
going
Rogan
crazy?
talked about it. Huh?
There's footage of him going crazy?
Well, there's footage of him tweaking. Okay, he was like, he can't sit still.
Really?
He's jerking around.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's AI.
Blame it on AI. Anyway, listen, I know you got to go and everything. Thanks for letting me call in because it's really sad to hear that these people jumping on board of this. What do they call that when they believe that they're the real Jews again?
The Black Hebrew Israelites?
Yeah, that. I mean, come on. I mean, where did that come from? How long has that even been?
They read the Bible and they think, oh, this sounds like our story. It sounds like us. So they assume. And then they also read that Jesus' hair was like wool and his feet like bronze. Like I'm starting to turn a little bit bronze, right? You see I'm slightly bronzed.
That's after he resurrected, man.
Yeah, right.
That's John talking about him in Revelation.
So he resurrected black?
No, he resurrected with hair like wool and feet like gold.
Yeah, that means that he was Ashkenazi. Don't the Ashkenazis have kind of like curly hair, like wool? Yeah,
well,
like a Hassan.
All I'm saying is that they sound like a cult. Okay.
Oh yeah.
They're not preaching. They're not telling you about redemption. That's the whole Bible: repentance and redemption and what Jesus did on the cross.
Yeah.
Not, hey, we're the Mormons, we got it right. Hey, we're the Jehovah's Witnesses, we got it right. You know, down the line. You know, now you got Scientology, man. You ought to look into that. You want to talk about a total whacked out freaking deal there, man. Those people are really nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, all right. Hey, have a great day, man.
All right. Thank you, David. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Let me read some super chats. We're past the top of the hour. Joel Friday TV is coming up next, guys. Let me tell you what his show is going to be called. Let God Draw You In. Joel Friday TV coming up on Joel Friday TV YouTube. And he's also live on Instagram. I cannot be live on Instagram. It keeps on stopping me. Over on Rumble, it's me, Xenia, is a monthly supporter. Hey, thank you, Xenia. That's cool. Sion C says, hi, Samson. What do you know about Ted Bundy? I heard that he, not to be confused with Al Bundy, I guess. I think he was a serial killer and a ladies' man. Fairly handsome, charming. That's what I heard. He was just like Alfred Dummy. I watched his documentary and it was really disturbing. It's all about the spirit that drove him to do what he did. Everybody angry on the economy's driving people crazy now, and the spirits are busy. Shout out to Boo number 2, the real Mr. Mad, angry face, scissors for haircutting, I think, and cutting hair emojis. Thank you, Sion C. And she also gives another coffee saying, keep being you. Isn't that nice? Maybe one day I can be me. Thanks, Sion. Popcorn Stump Keg with a coffee. As we approach the first presidential debate that's happening this Thursday, there has been lots of talk about the various policy visions that will be articulated, or policy blindness, articulated for the American people to listen to, digest, and use to make decisions for whom they shall vote for. Or whom they shall vote, for whom they shall vote. After all, rhetoric is nice, quote unquote, but policy is what actually gets implemented. Fair point, fair point, fair point. While everyone is going on opining about foreign policy, tax strategy, education, etc., Trump is the only one who is talking about the question that is really on people's minds. If your electric boat sinks because the battery is too heavy and you have to decide between being electrocuted or eaten by a shark, what do you do? I'm sure this was a very pressing question that people had. What a joke. It was amusing and it was fun. JLP talks about a little bit of nonsense too. A little bit of just funny stuff. Is that my cousin? That's what real people talk about sometimes. They go off on a little nice tangent. It's just fun and interesting. Because that's a life or death situation potentially. Or death, which death? If you must choose or risk life and limb, by which risk of life and limb would you prefer? Electrocution or by shark? It's not like he goes on every time and talks about it. He just talked about it for a few minutes. The joke is you judgmental people getting all judgmental and high and mighty. I'd rather Biden talk about Corn Pop. It was a bad dude. And he had a chain. And I was like, listen here, Corn Pop. Rest in peace to Corn Pop. He died. But Biden was kind of tough. Or played tough. And played reasonable. So Biden is phony. Trump is real. And that's all there is to it. That's in my mind anyway. That's my take. Thank you, Popcorn Stump Cake. That's fun. Let me double check over on. Thank you, Misty, for the ice cream. Taking care of business for the lemons and Games for Rec. Shout out to you for your sub streak. That's nice. Let me double check on the other platforms. I think we're doing fine. Hayden in Texas, been on hold for quite some time. Hayden, oh, he just hung up. How did that? I did not hang up on him. He literally just hung up. It was right there and it dropped and then it went. Well, that's okay. That's okay. No problem. You can call in. There's one line open, 888-775-3773. 1-888-775-3773. Maze, my favorite caller from the sundown town of Dayton, Ohio. How you doing, Maze?
Hello, James. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
I want to ask a question. Why do people have Jesus on the cross? Where did that come from?
I think it's the Catholics. I mean, he was on a cross, right? He died. What was it then?
The Bible said he was on a tree.
I mean, one part of the Bible says tree, other parts say cross, right? Don't they say cross?
No.
Depends on the translation, maybe.
It says he was hung on a tree.
Well, a cross is made out of a tree. So it's the same thing.
A tree and a cross are two different things.
Is it hanged? It's hanged.
They don't walk around with a tree around their neck. They walk around with him on a cross on their neck.
Well, did he have nail scars in his hands or in his wrists or something? Because I heard that he showed doubting Thomas his finger in the hole of the hands in of the scars in his hands or something, the nail holes in his hands or in this area of his wrist.
You can't put somebody on a tree and put nail holes in them.
You can
with their hands wrapped around it.
You can. Is it true that a cross is made out of a tree parts?
Why don't they just walk around with a tree?
Is it true?
like
Did he
that
have to
when-
carry that tree? Did he have to carry that tree?
We don't know if he carried a tree. If they cut the tree,
Because the Bible says that he carried the
tree, he
cross.
had to drag it, maybe. But I'm saying they walk around with a cross around their neck, so
Right.
they believe in Jesus. Why don't they walk around with a tree around their neck instead of the cross?
Because
You know,
there's only one
God
verse
said-
that says tree.
Whoever
and-
designed it needs to stop it. It's just like a whole lot
Well,
of stuff.
the person who designed it did stop it already. I'm sure the person who designed that cross has died. The cross has been around
It's a
for
good idea to go design the right one. How about that?
whatever.
And then when it comes to how I see things, you see, I'm around all kind of people. But you see, if you got your focus on one group of people, how are you gonna know what the other group is doing if they just hiding what they're doing and talking about what somebody else is doing? Is that love?
It's fun. It can be love to talk about what somebody else is doing and
No, that's
and
not
correct
what I
them.
said. I said if you're around a whole group of people, like the Asians have their holiday, the Hispanics have their holiday, everybody they have the week, what you call those people that had last month, they had their holiday. So everybody got their holidays, and then y'all having White History Month this month.
Right.
For what reason?
Because we love, we are encouraging everybody to love white people because right now nobody's loving white people.
But you encouraging everybody to love white people,
Yeah.
but who is encouraging white people to love anything except themselves?
Jesse Lee Peterson is encouraging white
Really?
people to love everybody.
Jesse don't have nothing to do with none of the holidays that look like him.
Yeah,
He
because
got all
those are-
something to do with the
because-
holidays that look like you.
Because those are.
July, Christmas, and all those different things. I told you I don't
Mace.
celebrate holidays.
Can I tell you why Jesse doesn't celebrate those messy black holidays? Because those are born out of hate, not love.
Really?
Yes. Because
Maybe they
there
were
can
born out
be
of denial
holidays. There can be holidays that are true holy days that are made out of a righteous and loving heart,
Yeah, right.
and there can be
You say
false,
so.
devilish, satanic, fake
That's what I'm
holidays from
saying.
hell, like Kwanzaa,
Yeah, but like I said, the
Black
heathens-
History Month, dumb
The
stuff.
heathens are out there complaining about somebody else having days, but you want a day yourself. So how can you, as a heathen, the heathen group, want to complain about somebody else? and they
Because
want to-
our days are the days that the Lord has made, and
No,
their
they're not.
days are
you
devilish.
don't even know what the day the Lord had, Brady, because you don't abide
Days.
by that day. What
You're
day is
ju-
that?
You're just mad.
Now, what day is that supposed to be in His law?
Go ask Jesse Lee.
No, I don't have that. Just I can tell you the Sabbath, and that's not on His
Yes,
on the day that
and
the
we
Bible
rest on the Sabbath.
Yeah, but you rest
Sabado.
on the Sabbath.
That's
When
why
do you do
the
it?
Spanish
It's
people
just-
call it, the Spanish
so-
speakers call it Sabado. Sabado.
Who changed it though?
Sabbath.
Who changed his day? Let no man change. It said that in His
We
law
didn't
too.
change it. I didn't change it. Well, the people from that one fast runner from Chariots of Fire says, I do not run on the Sabbath, meaning Sunday, but I rest on Saturday and then I go to church and work on Sunday.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. So it's still,
that's
you
what-
can still have church on
what you
Sunday.
do.
It's not
Take
changing
your
anything.
book. I have to take your book.
It's
You
just
can read
what
it.
the
You don't
principle of it
understand
is
it.
rest
You don't
one
understand
day.
people. That's a fact. You don't understand people, and you don't understand your book that you got.
You don't understand the book
Once
that
the
you
gospel
pretend
has
that
been
we don't
preached all around
understand.
the world, the end shall the end come. What gospel are they preaching?
Huh?
That's what I'd like to know. What gospel are they preaching? That's what you hear them all say. Once the gospel has been preached, the end shall the end come. What gospel are they preaching? I don't see no love in none of the gospel.
The gospel is the good news.
To be talking about.
The gospel is the good news. Gospel
Really?
means
What is
good
that?
good news.
What's the good news?
The good news is you can overcome hell.
Okay.
Yeah.
You must be living it. If you got to overcome it, you must be living
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, most of us are.
Yeah. But most of people might be living in hell, but you only see one side of hell of one group of people. You got to look at the whole group and see everybody that's living in hell. You got to look at all of them. Stop acting as if it doesn't exist.
Whatever.
So who's here? You always want to tell people like what to do and how to do things and slavery and all this mess.
Yeah.
That's over, and it's not going to happen again.
How do you know?
Unless
Isn't
you
it
got
already
your man
happening?
and it's gonna
Don't
happen.
get lost in the maze
Because
today,
nobody's
Hake.
going to let somebody put them in slavery again. That's one thing. It's not going to happen like it did then. That's what I'm trying to
I know
tell you.
things happen again,
got
but
people-
differently.
You got people hating people, don't even know why they're hating people, and thinking somebody coming to get them, to take them over, to take them somewhere. Don't nobody want you. That's the problem. Ain't nobody want. I tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. If my car broke down, some people's house, I wouldn't stop to knock on their door. Because they got too much hatred within their in the people look like
that's
me.
safe.
They got
You
too
want to
much
be
hatred for them
careful.
that they wanted to destroy it.
The people who look like you are so hateful and jealous that they want to destroy what you have?
I'm saying Mark. I ain't talking about jealousy. I'm talking about the hate. I would not stop at Mark, though, to ask him to if my phone broke and I needed to call to get some help. I wouldn't stop at his door.
That's your loss, because Mark is a
No,
gentleman.
it wouldn't be my... No. It
No,
wouldn't be my
Mark
life.
is a
It would be my
solid
life.
guy who would totally help you out,
That would
Maze.
be my life.
He would treat you like a lady.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because he's a gentleman.
Real right. He's a gentleman.
No,
all
I
right.
know this. I know this for a fact.
You always tell him.
Okay, well, I don't know it for a fact, but I know I can just picture in my imagination Mark treating you right, because he's a white gentleman, and white gentlemen are kind to black ladies.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they? Well, one sure don't have no reason for the black women, because they always want to worry about their hair. They always want to look.
Why
like.
are you living in your imagination like your car's going to break down in front of Mark's house as if you even know where Mark lives?
That's the man that ran for president. I said they always talking about black women weave. He got weave. Trump got weave on his head.
How do you know that? No, that's his real hair.
Some days it's straight and some days it's messed up.
He couldn't even pull it off.
Ladies are going around having a problem. about that.
Jimmy Kimmel couldn't even pull Trump's hair off. It was proved to be real on that late night show.
Really?
Yeah, really.
But on the airplane when he was getting in that spot, when the wind blew and they showed that spot where it was covered up at, Jimmy Kimmel didn't have to pull that up.
I mean, it's just a pullover. It's just a comb over. Everybody has. I mean, some people have. What's your point about his hairline? What's your point?
Not his hairline. It's the weave that he got on his head. Sometimes he got people
what business of that is yours? What business of that is yours? Well, then why are you being messy? You're gossiping.
I'm saying those that worry about the black
gossip.
in their weave. And up under that weave, they got some pretty hair. If you was around them and knew
I know. Yeah, I like that gal's hair. I like the black female judge, the ghetto one. I like her hair.
They don't want to mess their hair up when they go into these studios and do their work and stuff because they don't know how to do their hair. So they will put a wig on instead of that.
Yeah.
You're not a woman. Stop complaining about what women hair do and how they fix their hair and their eyebrows because they do what they want to do. Because if you look
we like black ladies. We just think that they should be natural. Natural, but contained.
Marsha Blackburn got weave in her hair, too. But you don't hear nobody saying nothing about her hair.
A white woman has a weave? I didn't even know what a weave was until blacks.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't know what to look for, you don't know what it is. You're looking up on Facebook or either YouTube to see what black women hair and how they do their hair.
I was 30 years old before I ever knew what a weave was.
Don't worry about it. I'm saying she got Sarah Palin had weave in her hair. I can name a lot of them that got weave in their hair.
Scratch that. I was 32. I was at least 32, maybe 33 years old before I knew what a weave was. Mm-hmm. Working here at the Jesse Lee Peterson show. That's when I found out that black people do this.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm trying to say. If you be around all kind of people, you know what the different people do. But if you just been around one group of people and you got this...
No, I've been around three different types of people. Whites, Hispanics, and Asians. And never did I ever hear about weaves.
But you can't tell what the black people do because you've never been around. And you take people like Bigg Bump.
I've been around you. I've been stolen from.
Problem. You've been around. He's been around you all, and Joel around you all so long. They don't know what the black people do.
No, I went to Pasadena City College and had my sweatshirt stolen.
Well,
so I was around blacks.
Stolen. Well, I will stay mad when
I don't know if it was blacks who stole it though. It could have been those bad Asians.
So you can act like when your bank account gets stolen and your identity gets stolen. I don't think we do that kind of stuff, stealing people's identity and all of that. But y'all don't get mad with those people.
All right.
And it takes a lifetime for some people to get straightened out if they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, let some people sit down and tell you all what they think of you and why you do the things that you do, and maybe sometime you can listen and learn.
Nice. That's what I try to do. That's what I did with John from Kentucky.
I'm mad, whatever his name is, or whatever his name. You know, like, what's wrong with black people? We wonder what's wrong with some people. Some people like him and you and those that don't understand it, that never been around black people to understand what black people do.
Okay.
People of color.
Motor Mouth Maze.
Take that. I don't care if you can call it a motor, but I bet you can remember something that I had to say. So have a good one. Y'all enjoy y'all White History Month. Are you going to do 4th of July too?
Of course.
Whose month is that? Whose day is that?
America's.
Oh, so everybody's supposed to participate?
Only the ones who love America should participate.
Oh, well, then only the ones. Well, there's a lot of them that don't love America.
I know.
Well,
they should go home. Run
America.
along,
Or the government.
America haters.
Not at all. So you have a good one.
You too.
And to those like what I said, Be a man and stand up and suck it up and shut up. Have a good one.
Tabitha Ray says, take your own advice, Maze.
I do take my own advice. That's why I know about people. I don't complain and talk
Okay.
about people. Like even the news sit up and talk about one group of people every day. Just one group of people, and it's stuck in your thin brain that only on one group of people do this.
You sound like John, Kentucky John. Thank you.
I don't sound like him, but I don't even know Kentucky John.
I know, but because all you dark-minded people think alike, just as great minds think alike.
Are you heathen-minded people think alike? When you think of the ways of the heathen, you do what the heathen do.
All right, I got to keep it moving.
Have a good one.
You too. Motormouth Maze is what, man, I'm blanking on his name. He made our Discord server. Nice, from Louisiana. Whew. Peace and quiet. Isn't that nice? Okay, let me quickly cover this. And before I get back to calls, No White Guilt posted this on X. Jason Kone. I forget how to pronounce your name, man. Kone? And I disavow the way he phrases this, but he wrote, oh no, Kurne. K-O with the umlaut or the two dots. I don't know how to pronounce that thing. H-N-E. K-O-H-N-E. No White Guilt. N-W-G. He posted, Jew haters are the AIDS, he says, I disavow that, of the white race. Not AIDS as in helper, not A-I-D-E-S, but A-I-D-S, which is, STD. It's like a deadly, I think. Not good. It's a disease of the white race. Historically, the multiracial Jew-hating movement, because multiracial, there are many races among the people who hate and blame, Jews in particular, I guess. Like, they hate everybody, but they blame the Jews. Movement has prevented the creation of a white positive movement. White positive, as a phrase that he uses, okay? It's an idea. And they are continuing their same subversive, isn't that interesting? Subversive efforts today. I like how he uses the word subversive, because that's a word that we use for a lot of the Jays, right? Because they're very subversive. And it's interesting that the haters of the Jays become what they hate, meaning subversive. Subverting, carving out the foundation and making it brittle so that the whites collapse. Because it's lame for the whites to be like, oh, there's nothing wrong, no, la la la, no problem. No problems here. We love everybody, covering their eyes. But it's also destructive to look at this, and hate and never look at yourself. I'm convinced, and you can hate with facts, okay? Facts are not truths. We speak the truth in love. Because you can speak the facts in hate. I am convinced that the natural immune system of the white race would easily have defeated non-white anti-whites long before any of us, this is Jason Kone writing, long before any of us were even born, if it hadn't been for the multiracial Jew-hating AIDS, he says, in our body politic. And if you think about that, the H-man that a lot of you guys talk about, Hitler, think about what he was said to have done, right? He blamed them in part. And might even have hated them. Maybe even have killed like a bunch of them, like according to the stories. That brought a huge backlash. Destructive. It became devils fighting. Or let's forget that because we don't know. I don't know what happened back then. Look at today, the Charlottesville thing. Some of them were mad at what's happening to the beautiful Confederate monuments and the attack on these white countries and stuff. Look at the backlash. They do something that's maybe questionable, or that they have a right to do. The major backlash, hatred. And there's a lot of that false guilt and fear and anger and infighting and backbiting. I differ with Jason on this point. He's been on my show before. I've been on one of his shows before. I differ in that it's not solely the Jew blamers. It could be a media blamer. It could be some dumb, lame boomer. I hate the media. Shout out to the dumb boomers. Hey, I'm a dumb boomer myself. I'm a millennial boomer. It could be infighting even in your own heart. Say you are just can't get along with people. There's a lot of that going on. After the destruction that took place with Charlottesville, the Unite the Right rally, there was a whole lot of division, blame, scattering. After January 6th, there's a whole lot of infighting and backbiting and accusing of grifting. Oh, grifter. Everybody accuses each other of being grifters. But anyway, he said, the multiracial Jew haters slandering me on this thread is the way these people destroy white positive. Yeah, it's not, you're being all negative, blaming and all that stuff. When we could be positive, and positive is kind of attractive. That they can't redirect into Jew hatred. They won't permit the existence of a movement that focuses on the well-being of white people, a movement that names our victimizer as anti-white, irrespective of race, including the anti-white Jays. If we're going to survive, much less recapture our destiny, he says, the multiracial Jew-hating movement must be rejected as an entirely different entity with an entirely different objective. It's basically... that is a popular trend right now, is the Jew blaming. But to me, it's the anger and hatred of the heart, because that's going to destroy you within yourself in your own life with your messed up habits. You got to cope, drink, pour yourself into work, focus on stuff that doesn't matter. And with one another, you're not going to get along with one another. This was constantly talked about in the New Testament with the Christians. I don't believe he's a Christian, or he may be a Christian, but Christianity is not the focus, because he doesn't want to divide people among. There's a lot of people who are alienated by Christianity for one reason or another, or they blame Christianity. They're alienated from their parents who are all into Christianity or whatever. A lot of people have been propagandized against Christianity. And so people have a hang-up, and so Christianity, turn away. And so he's kind of more just, let's just do this white. Love the whites. And everybody should love the whites. You'll hear people from every race and ethnicity loving whites, calling into JLP, and it's even Hake, and 12 Friday TV, and American Anchor Baby. That's nice. Because you're supposed to love everybody, including the whites. But in the church... people were backbiting, gossiping, being all self-righteous and phony. And there's a lot of people who go into their heads and don't hear what you're actually saying and jump to false conclusions about what you're saying. With whether you're talking about not hating the Jays or whatever you're talking about. I thought that was a nice, interesting point. I felt it was incomplete, but it is a huge issue for the last 100 years or more. Thank you, sir. Hope that helped. Hayden in Texas has called back. He had disconnected. What's up, Hayden in Texas? Thanks for calling back. What's up?
As soon as you picked up, I lost service.
I know, that was crazy. Yeah.
That's so crazy. So I was watching the rest of your show yesterday, and I noticed you in Joe's conversation.
Yeah.
And he was giving you credit for you and I's conversation yesterday, which I thought was a big red flag on your end.
Right.
Especially with what he was talking about yesterday about Azzmador.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's terrible.
that was some dark stuff.
Yeah. Because he was like, oh, I'm celebrating because he's in HE double toothpicks. Hell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was evil. But he's one who tries to guide the young people not to be all into degenerate rap and stuff like that, and be a good male example for guys, according to him, for guys with single mothers, young men with single mothers and stuff like that, for playing basketball and stuff like that. So he tries to be he's one of these do-gooder types who's just an angry person. So don't get caught up on that. I think that's why he said that he liked what I said to you. And it is a fair warning. Although he's evil and lost on his own part, a lot of times evil and lost people can give you criticism. There may be some truth or facts to the criticism that they're giving to you. So don't be too quick to dismiss that.
No, yeah, and so, but again, he didn't give you full credit. He said that you were halfway decent for what we were talking about yesterday. And then also, what you were saying about the whole him dismissing the rapping thing and stuff. He's also the same person that says that not all blacks are immoral people. He says it's a very small percentage of it.
Right. Yeah, because he thinks the only immorality. I'm gonna accuse him of something, and I'm being kind of making a caricature. He's pretending, or he's acting as though the only immorality is violence. Because he said less than, or violent crime that's documented by the FBI. Because he's like, less than 1.05% of blacks commit violent crimes. Why are you blaming all or most black people for the actions of a few?
well, I mean, it is a proven fact. I mean, they're 11% of the population, and they somehow commit 65% of the violent crimes in America. I mean, that is a staggering number.
That's efficient.
For a population that small.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, I heard what you said about yesterday, and that that you didn't think that I was going to do anything violent and stuff, which is good. I'm glad you saw that. But and if you were calling me excited for the way I approach like the truth and stuff about white people and how the blacks are more, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then I will totally accept that you calling me excited about that. I'll accept that any time, any day.
I was thinking about you. I was thinking about you earlier this morning. What you focus on. This is something that somebody said on the Fallen State one time.
Yeah.
What you focus on becomes important to you. And so a lot of times, if you focus on black crime, you can get all into like finding out about black crime, statistics and all that stuff. If you focus on anything, it becomes important to you. Like running, when I was in high school, I was all into running. So I would that would consume my mind. And in college, I was into reading the Bible. And so that would consume my mind. And so whatever you're focusing on becomes important to you, but it's good to be circumspect, meaning have a big picture view of reality as much as you can, and just stay present so that you can not miss the moment.
Right. And I'm completely with you on that.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I disagree with Mark from California about is, I think that I'm with you. I think you should have these animals that call in on your show, like John, Joe, all these people call on your show, because it gives people a chance to see right from wrong. And because I mean, you have people in this country, like for example, like undecided voters. They're unsure. They're like, oh, I don't know if I want to vote for Trump. Oh, I don't know, but Biden, he seems pretty good, and all this stuff. You have people who are on the fence about stuff. It gives people the chance to, see who is actually right and who's actually wrong. And I think it would be a complete disservice. You can call me excited for for wanting to speak out on like social media and stuff and all this stuff. I'll accept it, but it would be a complete disservice to what is good and most importantly to our country not to speak out against the animals that call in on your show.
It's I think it's good to let them speak on the show to show what they're thinking to other people, because there are other people who think that way, and to show that there are people who think these crazy ways, and this is in America. It's kind of a picture, a small picture of a portion of America.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So I just want to call in and say that I think it would be a complete, disservice for anyone to for the whole excited thing. You said yesterday that I feared that you, I feared that you were thinking I was going to do something violent or whatever. I didn't really fear it. I just wanted to clear up that I'm going to continue to speak the truth no matter what, whether I lose people or whatever the circumstances may be. And I have lost friends and stuff, but I also have had more people come back to me and say, you know what, Hayden, you were right about, whatever topic we were talking about.
Nice.
But
yeah, just keep a good attitude and don't get caught up to where you pop off at the mouth. Or if you find yourself getting caught up, just remember, oh, I got caught up. Because it's not even a big deal. Whatever happens to you, losing friends, it's like they're not friends anyway. You weren't a friend to them.
I don't worry about that at all.
And honestly, like, it's not as though you were really a friend to them. Don't get self-righteous and pumped up thinking, oh, I'm better than these people who ditched me. Just leave it alone, Nice.
Yeah, I don't think anything of it like that that I'm better than them or anything. I just, if they leave my life, that's up to them. They're lost. And the people that have my quote-unquote friends that have left, they're completely lost into the narrative of this whole notion about equality. And
that's partly why you don't hold back necessarily. Sometimes there is a time to hold back, but you don't want to push them away. There's a time, like with women, when I was dating, sometimes I would detect a dishonesty in one woman or another that I was dating. And I would judge her for that, and I would push the issue when she wanted to get away from it right away. And had I been a more gracious man, I could have let her get away from the topic rather than push it on her, being like an in-your-face thing. Not that I wanted to be with her, or not that I'm sad that I'm not with these women anymore, but it was an unnecessary alienation. I was alienating her unnecessarily with my getting all puffed up and looking down on her for being dishonest. It was like, oh, a dishonest woman. Ooh, what a shocker. We're not supposed to be shocked or judgmental towards dishonest women. They're supposed to be dishonest until they're, you know what I mean? They're supposed to be dishonest.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
But I mean, today, this is not it's a complete fact that today, my generation's women are completely different from the women, compared to the 50s, 60s type of women.
Yeah.
I mean, the
so
girls
are the men.
The men too. But I mean, women, I mean, they're.
But the spirit is the same. I know that they're brainwashed and they have all the wrong ideas. That's one more reason to be understanding. Don't be a simp and don't try to stay with them, but also be more gracious than don't be hard-hearted toward them.
Yeah.
Don't be.
Well, they're used to softballs and people.
Yeah.
Like you just said, simping and stuff. So I know me personally. I've been in the same boat with you, being hard on them when I catch them with lies and stuff.
Yeah.
I've done the same thing, and I don't regret it whatsoever because the people that I've seen, they've been just handed softballs and taken advantage of over the other men that they dated.
Right.
But
it's just that you want to be a light, even if you're a brick wall that they cannot that they try to hit up against, and you don't give them any softness, but you also aren't judging and looking down on them. That is when you're a light. You're speaking the truth, not just bashing them, you're speaking the truth in love.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, because
Yeah.
I mean I try to be the most honest, truthful, and genuine person I can be, but I would never judge them for it, because I sin just as much as they do.
Yeah.
But I call out when someone lies, and I've had a pretty good history of it, and the people the girls that I've seen, they one girl in particular was like, "Hey, I've never dated someone like this before." Calling them out like on every line and stuff. It was pretty crazy, but I enjoyed every second of it.
Nice. Interesting
Yeah.
call,
I'm gonna
man.
call and say
Appreciate
that.
you. It's good to hear from you.
God bless you, Hake.
All right, you as well. Wow. Jaime in Minnesota is on the line here. Jaime, thank you for calling and holding. What's up?
Hey, how are you doing, Hake?
Doing well, thank you.
That's good. That is good. Hey, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how the black man can overcome the black woman,
Okay, let's hear it.
and to protect the future for the black family. And,
Okay.
That is to reproduce with other races of women. To
No.
leave the black women to their own devices.
You sound like Joe in Phoenix.
Well, I just heard about this theory, is all.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like if the black woman doesn't want to submit themselves to the black man so that they can have black families,
Mhm.
then the black man has no other choice but to find other groups of women.
But that's not true, because there's always an individual black woman who wants to submit. And
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I heard this stat.
Or-
1 in 4
keyword
black
wants.
women.
Go ahead.
What was that?
1 in 4 black women what?
1 in 4 black women will get married.
Wow. That's low.
And yeah, that's very low. And I heard 2 in 4 white women will get married, and that's pretty low, but that's
That
still
is.
double. But black women are the least marriageable.
We've been set up. We being
so-
young, well, not that I'm young, but youngish men and women have been set up.
Yeah. And so the young black men, they still deserve, black families.
You
That's
think so?
what men want. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
But it's the women who have swallowed this feminist pill, and then
No,
raised
man,
these,
men have swallowed the feminist pill too. They believe in
yep.
equality too. Just not as extreme.
and as they're raised by the black woman, they take that pill too. But
No, but I'm not for swirling. Don't be swirling. That's what it was called, swirling. There was this Crystalline Karazin was on the Jason Lee Peterson show years ago when I was producer, and she was for swirling.
But the black woman needs to submit to the man, the black man.
I know, but it'll happen.
One of the things that I've heard about black men is they dislike the black hair that these black women do.
The weaves?
They shave their heads.
Yeah.
They shave their heads and they put the different color wigs, the blonde wig. Black men dislike that.
Yeah.
They don't like it. But
Some
the
of them-
black woman doesn't care because they don't do it for the black man. They do it for other women.
Yeah.
To impress other women. So it's a great big mess.
The black men can tell the women about that. They're man enough to let them know, I don't like that stuff.
Yeah.
Nice to hear from you, Jaime in Minnesota.
Yep. You have a good day.
You as well, man. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye. Wow. Let me try to get to all the calls. Hector in New Mexico. Let's try to do 1 minute. Go.
Jay, I'll keep it quick.
Cool.
So, why is it you think people so fervently defend a book that has been edited so heavily throughout the ages without even questioning its validity?
You're referring to the Bible. And
Yes, sir.
I don't even think it's necessarily the Bible that's been edited, but the language and the understanding of the Bible has been edited and messed with, and the words themselves. People are hung up on words. I think it's because people are intellectual and shallow and leaning on their own understanding rather than trusting in the Lord. I think that's what it is.
I like that response. And one more real quick.
Yeah.
Do you think people would also know that Jesus existed without the Bible?
I don't know.
Just something I've been pondering. So.
Yeah.
But that's all I wanted to ask you. I know we're at the tail end and you got other callers, so that's all I wanted to say.
Cool, man. Will call me again if it suits your fancy. Take care, man.
Yeah. I might call you tomorrow to follow up, but yeah, have a good day.
All right. You as well. William in California on the line here. William, what's up, man? We got a minute.
I'm doing all right. You got a minute? Okay, look here. You are allowed to talk about black people. In fact, keep doing so.
Thanks.
Because you are in the news every day for doing something wrong and killing each other. Because it definitely wasn't. You did not hear me tell you yesterday they got two of the guys in Round Rock. Did you hear me say it was black?
No, I didn't hear you say that it was black. And
Well,
we love the blacks, if we love anybody.
Well, I'm saying it now because you definitely did not have a white person go to a Juneteenth festival and shoot it up.
Right.
And it's not the only Juneteenth festival that is shot up. And the other caller that said they represent a high amount of the crime in the country, and they're one of the smallest groups. It is true. About the black man and the black woman, somebody just said something is right on point. There is an alarming amount of, and I'm accused of not being so black, but see, I am black, and I prefer my women to be black.
Right.
And I don't allow that seahorse glued up on the forehead. Yes, you see it's in a little pack in the store. You did not know that was fake. If we said something about that, we are allowed to do so.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the black women wouldn't want you to be quiet about it. They like you. They like the men to speak up.
We must be touching on something for you to respond so strongly.
Yeah. Nice.
And,
it's great to hear from you, man. I gotta run.
Oh, James. The cross was made out of wood, and wood came from a tree.
Yep. Thanks, man.
And maybe some of you black women need to figure out why your sons don't want a woman that looks like you.
Right.
Take care, James.
You too, man. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye. That was William in Texas. The rest of the callers, Mr. Pink in California, wanted to do a Joe in Phoenix impersonation, and the rest of the callers, I cannot get to you. Let's do Ain't No Monkeys in My Family Tree. This is the Knights of the New Crusade. Catch Joel Friday TV coming up next, everybody. Let me just double check. Shout out to Severio Jones, GMD Jim, Elijah. Oh, no. Wow, hey, Elijah. That's cool. And the supporters, guys. Knights of the New Crusade. Ain't No Monkeys in My Family Tree. Adios, America. Joel Friday TV coming up next. Bye.
Well, there's monkeys in the jungle, there's monkeys in the zoo. They even got monkeys in some of our schools. They can tell us that God didn't make the world in 7 days. They want us to believe that we evolved from the apes. Well, I don't know about them, but I know about me. And there ain't no monkeys in my family tree.
The monkeys in the vines, and you'll see them up in trees. You can even see them right there on the TV. They claim that Jonah never lived in the belly of a whale, that our ancestors walked around dragging their tail. I don't know about them, but I know about me. There ain't no monkeys in my family tree.
When you see some monkeys, they look kinda cute, but not when they're wearing a tie and a suit. Big book of lines and a fancy degree, trying to make a monkey out of me. Oh, no, no!
Knights of the New Crusade. Horrible Bob Dylan sounding crud.
Well, some monkeys are honest and
Some monkeys are crooks.
some of those monkeys even write dishonest monkey books. They'll say that Jesus'
Oh,
miracles
BM
never did occur, and
that our ancestors were covered in fur. I don't know about them, but I know about me. And there ain't no monkeys in my family tree. No, there ain't no monkeys in my family tree.
BM007, I'll have to read your super chats tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Adios, America. Bye.